kimbilio jingine ila wewe mimi sina mwingine ila wewe Bwana, kimbilio jingine ila wewe Bwana. Napenda nikae nawe, ewe Bwana wangu, nipenda Roho wako awe ndani yangu. Napenda nikae nawe, ewe Bwana, nipenda Roho awe ndani. Napenda nikae nawe, ewe Bwana wa, nipenda Roho wako awe ndani. Mimi sina mwingine ila wewe Bwana, kimbilio jingine ila wewe Bwana. Mimi sina mwingine ila wewe Bwana, kimbilio jingine ila wewe Bwana. Mimi sina mwingine ila wewe Bwana, kimbilio jingine ila wewe Bwana. Napenda nikae nawe, ewe Bwana wa, nipenda Roho awe ndani. Napenda nikae nawe, ewe Bwana, nipenda Roho awe ndani. Ukuinue kila wakati, nafsi yangu ikuimidi kila saa, moyo wangu na ukuinue kila wakati, nafsi yangu ikuimidi kila saa, moyo wangu na ukuinue kila wakati, nafsi yangu ikuimidi kila saa, moyo wangu na ukuinue kila wakati, nafsi yangu kila saa, moyo wangu na ukuinue kila wakati, nafsi yangu ikuimidi kila saa, moyo wangu na ukuinue kila wakati, nafsi yangu ikuimidi kila saa, moyo wangu na ukuinue kila wakati, nafsi yangu ikuimidi kila saa, moyo wangu na ukuinue kila, nafsi yangu kila saa. Even as we sit and let us sing together, moyo wangu na ukuinue kila wakati, nafsi yangu kila saa, moyo wangu saa, moyo wangu na ukuinue kila wakati, nafsi yangu ikuhimidi kila saa. Oh, you are all that matters. Oh, you are all that matters. You are you are all that my way. You are not the way. You are all that matters. You are all. One more time. You are all that matters. You are all the way. You are all that my way. You are all you are all that matters. You are all. You are all that matters. I'll put you in front of my melody. You are all that matters. You are all that matters. I'll make room for two, you and I, Jesus. You are all that matters. You are all that matters. I'll put you in front of my melody. You are all that matters. You are all that matters. I'll make room for two, you and I, Jesus. You are all that matters. You are all that matters. You are all that matters. You are all that you are all. You are all. marvelous. Oh, you are wrong. Oh, you are all that matters. Oh, you are wrong. Casting crowns, lifting hands, bowing heart is what we've come to do. Casting crowns, lifting hands, bowing hearts is what we've come to do. Adonai, 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 you reign on high. We will rise in your name, Adonai, you reign on high. Adonai, 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 you reign on high.
In your name, Adonai, you reign on high.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Thank you so much, praise and worship. Can we appreciate them, please? Can we appreciate the praise and worship team as they took off the stage? Thank you so much. Eric and the team, may the Lord bless you. So please, wale ambao wako kule nyuma, tafadhali tusongee hapa. Can we come closer? Even if you are still taking tea, just come with the tea. Please, just come with the tea. Even if you are still taking tea, kindly just come. We start the second session. Asante, thank you for being. And even for those that are outside, kindly come in. If you hear this voice, come in. We want to start the second session. We want to welcome the second speaker. So, come in. I want to just bring Dr. Mary Pierre to introduce the second speaker. So please, come in where you are. If you are outside, kindly come in. We are beginning the second session. And if you are at the back, please, those that are at the back, let's come and occupy this space here. And for those that are still serving tea, once you have served, just come and take this place. Come and sit here. Don't sit at the back. Just come here after serving. Kindly let's come. Emmanuel and the team, let's take our positions. Those that are going outside, I hope you have a role you are playing there, but we want to start the second session. Kwa wale ambao wanaenda nje, singependa mkaweze kuondoka kwa sababu tunataka tuanze kipindi cha pili. So for those that are outside, kindly come in. Ushers, help us that those people that are for those people that are outside to come in. Ushers, kindly help to tell people that are outside to come in so that we can start the second session. So that we can start the second session of our conference. We are behind time. We have taken too long for breakfast. And therefore, I urge that we settle very fast for the second session. For those that are serving tea, please, once you have served, just take your chair. so that we can settle and bring the second speaker. Thank you so much for being. And for those that are outside, again, I repeat, kindly, as you listen to this voice, we call upon you to come in, even as you begin the second session. The speaker is ready. It is just you that we are waiting for. So please, come in. Don't take too long. We are already behind time, and we want to maximize on the time left so that there is something we get out of the conference. Thank you so much. Here are our guests that are coming. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We can appreciate them even as they come, our guests. We can appreciate them even as they come. Thank you. Thank you. Kwa hivyo, I wouldn't even take a second. I wouldn't waste even a second. I want to invite Dr. Mary Pia to come and introduce the second speaker. Kwa hivyo, let's appreciate as she takes over.
Wow, thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's appreciate our MC. Yes, it is good. We are doing well. And with us, we want to bring on board Dr. Margaret. So, yeah, the media people, you are well. Yeah, just something we want to organize so that when you bring Daktari on stage, we will be sure that we are fine. Yes, technology is here with us. Yes, we are talking of the technological space in technological era. And one thing with technology is very efficient. And that efficiency can also go to the negative. Yeah, so let's put our hands together as we welcome Dr. Margaret as we bring her to the podium. Yes. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Welcome. Thank you.
Wow. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. These lights are a little too much, you know. They are like, I can't even see people. I'm actually seeing the lights, but it's well. I take this opportunity to acknowledge the presence of all that are here. I want to observe all protocols across the board. And the reason why I do that is because I may not have known exactly who is here, whether the Vice Chancellor is here, whether we have Bishop, whether we have other ministers, church ministers. And because of that, I just want to say, to greet all of you and observe all the protocols. Good afternoon once again. My name is Dr. Margaret Wanjiko Joroge. My former classmate, Dr. Nganga, was asking me whether I divorced Joroge because the name Joroge is not there. And I told him, no, Joroge is still there, very much there. It's only that the poster person decided not to put Joroge over there. So Joroge is there, and Joroge is my husband, and I'm a mother and a grandmother. I think that's enough for about myself. I also need to say that I am working at the United States International University as that is the one that is next to Safari Park, just in case you do not know. That is on Thika Road, and I'm working in the Department of Psychology as an assistant professor of psychology. And so today is a day that I am very excited about. And because this is a very hot place, I can tell like we are in Mombasa. So kindly, Daktari, give me my handbag over there so that I can get something from it. Because you see, when it is a hot place and then at the same time, there is a... Yes, now I'm sorted, yeah. You know there is the place, the heat that is around here, and there is also some other that could be coming because of the biology. Yeah, you know the biology that we'll not talk about today. And so I meant to project, but I'm told that this technology that we are talking about has decided to fail us. And if I projected, probably you would have seen what I have put on over there as a way of trying to explain to us what are we talking about today. And therefore, when I was invited and I was told, come and tell us more about this psychological well-being in the technological era, one thing that came over very clearly to me is that, yes, indeed, we are in the psychological era. And it is an era whereby we actually cannot ignore. And as I was thinking about it, I actually said that we could not have had a better time than now to talk about the psychological well-being in the technological era. Why am I saying that? Because from Nairobi, and the way Nairobi is so fast, going all the way to Mombasa, the Mombasa that is Mombasa, which is calm, you know, even though it is hot, it is calm. And then going all the way to some vibrant communities like in Kisumu, Kakamega, Eldoret, and then all the way to Garissa and Turkana, technology is what has brought people together. I believe we are in agreement. Technology has put people together. Actually, these days, there are those days that you can stay in a long time that you haven't seen somebody, like my former classmate. We hadn't met in a long time, but because we meet somewhere, in a WhatsApp group that we are in, we meet in that social media platform, we feel like we have been meeting one another. And that is what technology has done. Technology has brought people together in a very big way. And therefore, I insist that there could not have been a better time for us to have such a theme as this theme, psychological well-being in the technological era. I also need to say that I come from Central Kenya. And coming from Central Kenya and schooling in one of the rural schools, whereby even if you might go to the Google Maps looking for the school and not get it because of how rural it is, coming from there, being born from there and growing up there, I might keep on mixing L's and R. But as long as the message is passed, I believe you people are going to be fine with it. And I acknowledge that technology has given us immense opportunities. We are in a university right now. And even if you're not in this university, you could be coming from another university, like the way I'm coming from USIU, Africa, and another one is coming from Technical University of Kenya, and another one is coming from whichever other university. We know what technology has done to us. Those who are born during the time that I was born, and they schooled around the same time that I schooled, do you remember how we would do term papers? You remember how we would do term papers? Sometimes I keep on wondering, how was it even done without a computer? Because we didn't have computers. How was it even done without internet? How? How did we even do essays? And we did essays. How did we even do research to a point of us becoming who we are today? We have come from very far. I also vividly remember sitting somewhere in the library for long hours with books, 10 books, or even 20. Why? Because you are told that you have to put references. Where are you going to get these references? Today, if you go to ChatGPT and any other AI, you will tell them to produce for you an essay, and you tell them to put citations in the APA format, and they will do exactly that. ChatGPT does exactly that. And we have known you. Hello? We have known you. We know that is what you do. So we know that it is working for you. However, I need to tell you that it is not everything that ChatGPT does that is credible. You might come over there and you're telling us psychosocial development was actually authored by Sigmund Freud without knowing that it was not psychosocial. He authored psychosexual development. So you will find that. Like I know one student who wrote to me a term paper, and when I looked, I realized that he is describing the wrong theory. That is what ChatGPT can do. But we're actually saying that we have come a long way. A long way coming from where we would have 20 books as you are doing an assignment to where you can actually sit with only this laptop or even your phone and you are able to get everything that you need. I can also not forget to tell these young ones in this 21st century what we used to experience when we were dating. Dating, like it was easy for us. Let me tell you how difficult it was. You would write a letter to your boyfriend. And when you write that letter to your boyfriend, you go and look for a stamp. I don't know whether you people even know that there are stamps. Yeah? Those, not the stamp that you do like this, eh? Yeah, it was a piece of paper, yeah, that was either 10 shillings, 20. And then when you do that, you put some saliva on it, and you stick on top of the envelope, and then that letter is taken to the post office so that it can go and reach your boyfriend or your girlfriend. Now, the paradox is that you would send that letter, and it takes 1 month to get that other end. So if you are saying that I am burning in love, then what will happen? By the time he gets the letter, you are not very sure whether you are still burning in love. Are you getting my point? And then you can imagine now, when he's sending back the reply, now again, you cannot even remember what you wrote, because it will be 2 months. Now, technology comes over, and I do not need to live where I am for somebody to know that I love them. I do not need to live where I am for me to pass a message, because there is a text message. We even have, what do you call this, whereby you are talking to some face, is it called FaceTime? Face what? FaceTime. You even have FaceTime, such that I only need to make a call and put FaceTime, and if I'm talking to my daughter can see me irrespective of how far she is. That is what technology has done. And I can say that we have come from very far. In this 21st century, that very technology, with all the positive things that it has done, is in assignments, research, and even getting solutions to many issues of life. Technology has brought in new psychological vulnerabilities. And that is the reason why we are here today. Psychological vulnerabilities. And one of the most striking phenomenon is what I am referring to, Googling the mind. Is it Googling or Googling the mind? What am I talking about? The growing trend of you young people that I see here, and even the ones who are older than you, even our age, yeah, who are using the internet to diagnose and define their mental states. I would want to see if there is anyone here, which I doubt, who has never gone to the internet to check why they are having a headache. I'm just giving an example. I wonder whether there is someone who was having some form of palpitations at some point, and you're feeling like your hands are more sweaty, and you did not go to the internet to check what are the signs of anxiety. That is what technology has done. It has brought in, even with all the positive things that it has brought, it has also set in the psychological vulnerabilities that we are talking about today. Therefore, when I was given this theme, what came to my mind is just the young people at the university. And those were the ones that I actually thought about too much. And I came up with my own sub-theme. And do you know what my sub-theme is? Who can guess? Who guess what my sub-theme is? There's a reward if you guess right. No, because there is no one, then there is no reward for you, because you did not guess right. And therefore, the sub-theme that I came up with is Googling the mind, and I've put a full what? What do you call that? 2 dots. That one. Is it colon or is it colon? Is it L or is it R? L. Oh, is it colon like the one that we have inside our... Oh, I thought it's different. Anyway, and therefore Googling the mind, and then you put a full colon, and then you indicate mental health and the perils of self-diagnosis. Perils of self-diagnosis. The reason why I thought about that is because as I sat and I was preparing, I imagined that there is a university student who probably is at Kabarak University or Egerton University and has already Googled and indicated there signs of anxiety and restlessness. And the person types probably in their, if it is Facebook or it is whichever other platform, and they type down there and they indicate at why do I feel like I am not breathing well. And you know what will happen? In social media, you will be told you are dying. Yeah, what are you waiting for? You had better just start writing a will. That is exactly what you'll be told. It is in that very social media that another student who is at the University of Nairobi or United States International University will write something and say, I feel like giving up. This life is too difficult. And another one who probably is in Technical University of Mombasa will respond, or Garissa University will respond and say, I think the easiest way of dying is putting 1, 2, 3, 4 in place, and you will die peacefully. That's the times that we are living in. In a world where access to mental health professionals is limited and stigma still remains. Why? Because you do not want to go and see a therapist and tell them, I attempted suicide and I didn't die. And I am feeling very frustrated. I came across such a client who was telling me how frustrated they are because they attempted suicide and they did not die. Can you imagine? They are feeling frustrated. In such a world, Google becomes the new therapist. And that is exactly what has happened. In fact, I have heard phrases, I don't know whether you have heard as well, whereby somebody is asking, have you consulted Dr. Google? Have you consulted Dr. Google? Why? Because Google is like has every answer. And the human connection is a requirement as far as therapy or healing is concerned. In a nutshell, what am I saying? In recent years, conversations around mental health have become more visible, more visible. In Africa, we can say that we are at another level. I know the West was ahead of us, but in Africa, we are also at another level. We are doing very well, very much running to reach them. And conversations around mental health have become now more visible than before. Social media platforms like the TikTok, the Instagram, the X, that is the former Twitter, are filled with posts about anxiety, about depression, ADHD, and trauma, and, all of them. And this growing awareness is good. But at the same time, it is a sign, is a source of concern. It is a source of concern. And the concern that I would talk about, it is because self-diagnosis that I am talking about today has increased. People have decided, instead of going to see a therapist, the best thing that I can do is actually to diagnose myself and know what is it that I am experiencing. Somebody by the name Cosine in 2024. Why? Because now we are in a university, and because of that, we have to support what we are saying. So Cosine, in 2024, he did a review by an article that he was calling Inside the Black Mirror. And he highlighted how social media shapes identity around illness. By the way, if there is a place you can go and you almost know that you are dying tomorrow, it is in social media. It is in the internet. You go Google there and you say having persistent headache. You know what they run to? You need to go for a scan. Yeah, CT scan. Because that could even be a tumor. Hardly will they, first of all, yes. Hardly will the internet, first of all, say, it could be a flu that you are catching. Or it could be that you are stressed. That's the reason why you are having a headache. But the minute you put persistent headache, it is a tumor. And what happens to the psychological well-being of that person who has been told it is a tumor? By the time you even go to a doctor, you are more sicker than you actually were supposed to be. Now, so Cosine looked at how social media shapes identity around illness and how it encourages self-diagnosis via community narratives and online quizzes. And let me tell you the findings really indicated how much young people are actually Googling or are going to the internet to Google what problem they could be having. It is called technological error. But then we also need to ask ourselves, especially us who are in this field of mental health, why are young people going to the internet? Definitely the answers are there. One of them being they want social media or internet immediate. Being immediate, it actually means that you want an answer and the answer is there. It is instant. Yeah, it is instant. Thank you very much. Yes, thank you. Weni wangu, kapsa. Asante sana. It is immediate. So, if it is issues of anxiety, it is immediate. It has that. It is private. So, even if somebody is struggling with some certain behavior, it could be behavioral addiction, yeah, it has their solution. It is immediate and it is private. It is one place that you can feel safe. Safe because it is between you and a gadget. I don't know whether it's making sense. It's between me and the gadget. And therefore the gadget is the only one that knows what I am putting. Yeah? And then it is free. You only need to be at KAG University where we are today, and you have a hotspot. Yeah, because Wi-Fi is there. I believe you have good Wi-Fi. I believe so. Wi-Fi is there, and therefore it is free. Because when I go to Daktari over there, Daktari is going to charge me 5,000 or 6,000 per session. It is free. But then again, the explanations that often reflect the Western realities are also found. And we find that in Africa, we are very much trying to copy what the West is doing. That's the reason why sometimes I say, you only need to see somebody from the West, a renowned musician, come at our over there, JKIA, and he is wearing some funny dress, and the following day, you will see young people having such dresses. Western realities, you know? I remember when I was a very good fan of football. I know now people are wondering, what's wrong with you? I used to be a fan of football, and we had the World Cup. And during our time, during that World Cup, I still remember there was a young man who was really doing so well called Ronaldo. Yeah, Ronaldo, later on he was given another name. I can't remember the name because these days I'm not so much a fan because I think age is catching up very fast. Yeah, I'm still a fan of football, but not as much. And maybe you need to know it's because I grew up with boys. And growing up with boys, I was in the middle of boys. So it was during that time of Harambee Stars when it was shining. AFC Leopards and Gor Mahia, those days. And we had Kadenge and Mpira, you know, those days. And because of that, I developed that being a fan of being a fan of football. And therefore, Ronaldo, I think he was in Team Brazil. And at that particular time, he scored so many during that period of the World Cup. And because he had a certain hairstyle, yeah, the way he had, alikuwa menyolewa, you know, the following week, very many young people had that very hairstyle. What am I trying to say? The copying of the Western realities. Okay? And therefore, you will see people, young people especially, wanting to go to the internet because the internet is portraying what the West is doing. And another reason is the way I had mentioned before. It feels safer than walking into a therapy office to tell a therapist, I feel very broken. It is safer. Yeah? And especially our male gender, you know, who sometimes they are taught, socialized to be strong. Yeah. I imagine like my brother here, now walking to a therapist and telling the therapist, if you are not, telling the therapist, you know, I have been experiencing domestic violence. I'm a man. My wife has really been abusing me. Is it even making sense? You know? Now, you can imagine now it's a man walking to a therapist's room and saying how broken he is because you can even see the red eye. This red eye that you can see, it is because my wife hit me. Those are the realities that we are talking about that makes the internet to feel safer. Somebody is broken and they do not know how to go and explain it. And therefore the implications of self-diagnosis are real. Yeah? In their study on self-diagnosis in the age of social media, a team headed by Armstrong, just this year, 2025, they found that young adults seeking treatment reported online content and social media self-diagnosis. So they have been doing self-diagnosis. And they talked about issues concerning depression, issues concerning low self-esteem, issues concerning childhood traumas. That is what they were searching in the internet. The participants reported viewing mental health content online. However, they also said that when eventually they went for therapy, they realized that the content they were getting from the internet was actually wrong material. You got me right. it was actually wrong material. So, still earlier on, a group of other scholars, they frequently, they know that young people frequently turned to internet and social media for mental health information and help seeking, meaning self-diagnosis. They were doing all that. Then, in Indonesia, we are still looking at far and wide. A team that was headed by Nurisam in 2024, the results, they did a study among Indonesian adolescents. And the results illustrated how adolescents used online content to self-diagnose, sometimes inaccurately and with harmful implications. So, while we are looking at the positive aspects of the technology that we have today, we cannot forget the implications it has on the psychological well-being. And many other studies that have been done. And there's this one that caught my eyes. And this is one evaluation of an ADHD-related content which was in TikTok. ADHD. Yeah? And it showed that ADHD TikTok content can increase perceived helplessness among self-diagnosis viewers and may contribute misattribution. Yeah, misattribution of normal behaviors to a clinical disorder. In short, what are we saying? We are having implications as far as self-diagnosis, can I call it digital self-diagnosis, is concerned. A young person may read about symptoms online, like you have done once in a while, especially when we are closer to examination period. Are we closer to examination period here? Yeah, I can almost tell because we are nearing December. And when they Google there, they conclude, I have anxiety. Or I have bipolar. In fact, if there are some disorders that have been misused, it is bipolar. You know, another disorder is like OCD. You will hear people say, I have OCD. I do not know where they went and were done an assessment and there was OCD. You know, that was established. And another one is, oh, forget about that one. That one is a narcissist. Yes, narcissistic personality disorder has also been one of those disorders that has been given a label and everybody is talking about it. So and so is narcissistic. I still remember one time I got a young person. Actually, he was still in high school. And he came and told me, when I went to the internet, I found this manual. And the manual is called DS. I know my colleagues here know what I'm about to say. He asked me, is it DSM? And I got shocked. The young man was in Form 3. And he's talking about the DSM. Let me tell you what the DSM is. The DSM is Diagnostic and Statistical Manual for Mental Disorders. And he was already there. And let me tell you, even as we have come to understand the DSM when we've already gotten our PhD. You know, fully understanding it. And I wouldn't say that I am fully there. I doubt. Oh, that is called PTSD. You saw what I did? Yeah, that loud noise. Probably I need to come over for diagnosis. Why should I just Shituka because of that? You know, it took us long for us to be able to understand how to make a diagnosis using the DSM or even the ICD. It took us time. There is a young man who has gone to the internet and has already concluded that he is having a mental disorder. In fact, he told me, from what I saw, I have major depressive disorder. And I was like, where? Hey. What are we saying? Self-diagnosis. Yeah? They might begin to see themselves through the labels. You know, the labels that are put there. You know, when you are doing this, you are a narcissist. And the person walks with that label. I am a narcissist. Oh, you are this and this and the other. For you, it is depression. The person starts to walk with that. I have major depression. But no assessment was done. No assessment was done. Self-diagnosis, when it is divorced from context, the context at which I got the shock that, vile nimeshtuka, vile hiyo kitu imeanguka, sijui kama tunaelewana. You need the context. Why is Margaret behaving like that? That's the context I'm talking about. Is there a history? Did Margaret have some childhood trauma? Did Margaret probably experience some loud noise and then it was accompanied by something else? What is it? That's the context that I'm talking about. Without that context, it can deepen distress. And you'll be somebody who will be very distressed, but you are distressed out of something that should not distress you. Probably it was just one of those days. There's nobody who doesn't have their own moments. We all have our own moments. And there is no way that every moment that you get is you are going to give it a label that this is depression, that this is bipolar, that this is anger management issue. Probably it was worth it because of the way, the magnitude of what was happening. And because of that, it delays treatment. And you know, the moment there is a delay in treatment, then you can almost be sure that whatever problem there is, it continues to be entrenched in your own body. And therefore, self-diagnosis relies on limited information. Please hear me right. It relies on limited information, limited assumptions, as well as online tools that some of them are not credible. Yeah, they are not credible. For us, for a tool to be credible, it's got to be standardized. A lot of research has been done. And it can lead to mislabeling and increased anxiety. You get more anxious. And sometimes dangerous self-treatment choices. Therefore, what am I trying to say? I am trying to bring in here something that I am calling human touch as a foundation to healing of mental illnesses or psychological illnesses. And the power of the therapeutic relationship is vital. The moment you enter there and somebody offers you understanding, probably that is the only thing that you needed, and you start feeling better because somebody has offered you understanding while nobody else out there seemed to understand what you are experiencing. Counseling and psychotherapy are grounded in human connection, empathy, and relational presence. That relational presence is needed, and you cannot get it in the technology. You cannot get it in the internet. Again, healing is not about identifying symptoms, because that is what the internet will do. Identifying symptoms. It is about being seen, being heard, and feeling understood. I'm hoping by the time I finish here, we shall have, you have a university counselor, right? I believe so. By the time we are finishing, the counselor should be ready, because they will not go to the internet again. They will go to the counselor so that the counselor can offer the understanding that is needed. Again, human interaction activates the parts of the brain associated with safety. Have you ever felt that time that you are grieving? I know all of us have lost one person who you loved. That time that a person came closer to you and told you, come closer here, come, I hold you. It shall be well. How did it feel? You felt understood. It was an awesome experience. That is what human connection is as far as human interaction is in therapy. And then again, there is also the element of trust that comes over. You can imagine if it is only the internet that will keep on telling you, this is how you are, this is how you are, and this is what you can do. Yeah? When will you ever feel like there's somebody who trusts you? The internet cannot trust you. In fact, even if you go to the internet today, tomorrow when you go there, it will not remember it was you who went there. But if you come for therapy, the moment you come back, I will remember, hey, it was you who came over, and we were dealing with 1, 2, 3, 4. Professional therapy explores the roots of distress and not just the symptoms. It offers a holistic understanding of the client's emotions, social, cultural, and relation worlds. That's the reason why if you went to the internet, and I can bring in grief over here. How many of us are coming from Nyanza? Luo Nyanza, for that case. If you come from there, just put up your hand. I'm giving a very beautiful example of something I admire of that region. Okay, probably no one. Did you know that they have the best way of grieving? Grieving. They have the best. And when it comes to healing, they heal very fast. Why? Because they let it out. But now when you come from other areas, yeah, you find that especially the men, they are not supposed to just yell. Why are you yelling? How can you show tears to your wife? How can you show tears to your children? And what happens? Today, we are having adult men who are saying, I wish somebody allowed me to cry when I was a small boy. Because even when they were small boys, they were not allowed to cry. So basically, what are we trying to say? That therapy will look at the cultural circumstances, at the cultural context surrounding the issues that are presenting themselves. And therefore, coupled with using trained clinicians using evidence-based, whatever we are using, it is evidence-based. Research has been done, assessment, and accurate diagnosis and appropriate intervention follows. And therefore, it can never be equated to self-diagnosis using the technology that we have. I am almost concluding because I am a believer that you don't need to speak so long for people to get the point. I believe the point is almost home. And as I bring the point home, what am I trying to say? I am trying to tell you that there is a therapeutic alliance that you need, and the therapeutic alliance is not in the internet. You may go to the internet, and it may describe whatever it has described. But instead of going back to the internet again to self-diagnose yourself, probably the best thing is for you to walk to a therapist, and the therapist is going to be a more helpful person in telling you what could be the issue. As opposed to digital self-diagnosis, connection reduces risk of suicide. It reduces risk of suicide. Yes, because you will not be told this is how you can kill yourself fast. And then it provides hope. Therapy provides hope. Therapy provides validation. When somebody tells you, you must be a strong person. Whatever you went through was really, really difficult. You must be a strong person. Therapy does that. And therapy also offers emotional containment, where you are supposed to externalize, it will tell you this is how to externalize. And where you have been internalizing, it tells you this is how you can process the emotions so that you come out a stronger person. So in conclusion, our goal must be to create a Kenya where technology becomes a bridge to healing, but not a source of confusion. That should be our goal. And then a place where a young person searching online finds hope and not fear. And therefore, I'm also calling upon the mental health professionals so that the way we have a lot of content flooding in social media, that we can also go there and we change the platforms and we bring in credible information instead of information that is not credible, that is damaging the Kenyans today. I am looking for a Kenya where a young person searching will not resort to more serious mental health problems, but where technology leads to realization that there is need to seek therapy. This is because ultimately healing is not found in the Google. Yeah? It is not found in the hashtags, young people. Instead, it is found in connection to self, connection to self, connection to others, and also having meaning for the reasons why you are the person that you are. And what are my final reflections? One, as we think about psychological well-being in this technological era, let us remember, one, Google can provide knowledge, but not understanding. Number two, artificial intelligence can generate answers, but cannot generate empathy. Number three, human connection, that is, counselor presence, the therapist patience, the community's compassion can bring true healing. True healing. And lastly, it is therefore, I would say therefore, let us Google the mind if we must. Did you get me right? Let us Google the mind if we must. But let us also listen to it, nurture it, and heal it with wisdom, warmth, and power of human connection, which the Google cannot offer. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Daktari. We are honored to have you, and we understand the caring heart. Thank you. Yeah, I'm sure we are able to appreciate the good and the wonderful content that we have received. We have received the content, but what will make a difference is what we do with that content. So let's make good use of it. Let's not leave it here. I'm sure we have heard, but could be we've not been heard. We have heard, we have the content. We could be having some things that we'd want clarified. And we have got quite some time for that. So my request is that any clarification, any reaction that you'd want to hear from all of us. It's not just the speakers that have spoken, but it is from all of us. So I would that you write it. Write all the concerns that you do want to deal with before we go for lunch. Somebody will come picking. Do you have them, lady? Or you want?
because they needed some medical intervention of that nature. And after some time, I'd even forgotten because they never came back. I got a call at night. And the man told me, Daktari, how are you? I'm so and so. We'd seen you sometimes back. But now I have a new problem. And I think you can help me because the Daktari you send us to, and she is very good. Because the one that we used to see previously was a man, and that man seemed to perhaps be getting along very well with ladies, but this one actually spoken to my madam, and I think we are now on the right track. But the problem is that I was prescribed some medication. And this medication is causing problems. And you know, some of the complaints we had is because of performance, yeah? And now it is even worse. I do not want to face this Daktari because she's a lady, but I want you to tell me where can I Google to find out whether these are side effects or these are new problems that are developing, and how do I go about it? And I looked at him. I looked at the phone. This time it was on the phone, and I said, no, you don't have to Google. I mean, there's nothing to be embarrassed about. All you need to do is just go back and tell Daktari, this and this has happened since the last time you prescribed this medication, and I need your help and intervention at this level. People are using Google for so many things. I recall at times I go home and my wife has prepared some concoctions and I'm told this is good for you. I ask her, where do you get all this from? Do you get it from the Women Fellowship? Do you get it from where? And then you don't know. Hey, I was just reading some text in the, and I found this. And I thought it's good for you. But next time you're going to prepare poison because these guys are telling you things without even telling you what is the strength of the concoction they are giving you. We are, in fact, at a very interesting moment, in fact, globally, with technology. And people are postulating that we are just on the verge of entering into the fourth revolution of technology. And the fourth revolution is now ushering in the AI. We are getting to the Internet of Things, the robots, the robotics. That is the era we are getting into pretty soon, if we are not already there. Indeed, it is said that we are at the very experimental stages, but it soon shall be a very big boom. I've been told to speak something on cultural diversity, substance abuse, and mental health. And I said this perhaps is a big catch. I've for many years been teaching and talking about mental health, substance abuse, but I've never looked at it from a cultural perspective. I've never thought of it in that dimension all along. But as I was thinking and I was looking at this subject matter, it occurred to me how cultural we are in all our dealing with things. And sometimes we may not admit, but we are there yet. In the way we transact our businesses, in the way we reason out things, in the way we do our own activities, to a certain extent, they are tinted by some cultural undertones. And the abstract of my paper reads that cultural diversity plays a fundamental role in shaping society's understanding, interpretation, and the way we respond to mental health and substance use. Variations in cultural beliefs influence perceptions of illness, help-seeking behaviors, treatment engagement, and recovery pathways. Substance use patterns, similarly, are deeply rooted in cultural norms, socio-economic conditions, migration histories, and community structures. This paper reviews global and regional literature on the relationship between cultural diversity, substance use, and mental health, emphasizing context in the United States, Asia, Europe, and Africa. It further highlights Kenya's evolving landscape and substance use research and policy development. The review underscores the importance of cultural competent care, community engagement, and policy integration in addressing co-occurring substance use and mental health challenges. And the paper also concludes by advocating a culturally grounded, community-centered intervention to strengthen mental health systems in a pluralistic society. When we think about mental health and substance abuse, oftentimes we've been looking at this too from a Western perspective. But I want us to take time a little bit to look at how was it like and how has it been? What is our reaction to people who have challenges, especially mental challenges of some sort because of mental disorders or mental health problems? How do we react and how do we respond to people who are tied in the loop of substance use disorders? Oftentimes we approach them with the knowledge of the Western culturation, the Western orientation we have. But trapped in ourselves is our own culture, our own understanding, our own upbringing, our own beliefs. And at some time, there is a clash and confusion as to how do we proceed and how do we look at this. I want to say that cultural diversity encompasses the coexistence of different cultures, ethnic and social groups within a given society. The differences shape attitudes toward health, toward illnesses, and healing. We all have different perceptions about what could be the cause and the etiology of the problems that we see, the health problems that we have. And when we look at them, culture would always give us some indication or some assumptions that this could have taken place because of certain problems or certain issues. We may look westernized, but some of us largely believe and feel that there are spiritual forces that perhaps could be visiting us from our ancestors, or perhaps could have another spiritual dimension, that a God or a Godhead is unhappy about what is happening, and therefore in his anger has allowed certain misfortunes and certain problems to befall us. So culture, we see things with the spectacles of our own culture and then try to reason them out within the framework of the Western civilization. Globalization, migration, and urbanization have intensified intercultural interactions, shaping mental health systems worldwide. Understanding cultural diversity is therefore essential for clinicians, policymakers, and educators aiming to design equitable and effective interventions. Globally, if you look at the problem, substance use contributes substantially to mobility and mortality. According to a 2017 Global Burden of Disease study, substance use disorders were the second leading cause of disability among mental disorders, accounting for 31 million, that is about 25% years lived with disability. Harmful alcohol use resulted in 3 million deaths in 2016, while tobacco use kills 8 million people annually. Even though opioid use is less prevalent, opioid use disorder accounts for 76% of all deaths from substance use disorders. Other substances such as cannabis and amphetamines contribute to increased risks in depression, suicidality, anxiety, and psychosis. When we talk about years lived with disability, we are saying this is a metric that measures the amount of time a person lives with a disability or a health condition that reduces their quality of life. And indeed, if you look at some very chronic diseases that people battle with, like diabetes, cancer, and the like, and you tend to look at the amount of time this person has been spending in a state that is not productive at all, but battling the effect of that problem. And perhaps all of us may be knowing maybe one or two persons who are related to us or are close to us, but you can look at it from a global perspective. Brought together, how much does that cost to the entire world? People who have been put down by illness, people who are very productive, people who are very useful, but maybe they have been rendered incapacitated by the situation and condition in which they are in. And therefore, for statisticians and as policymakers try to estimate the costs of these diseases and the burden of the disease to the community, they have to come up with metrics that are going to help us look in some of these directions. In many low and medium income countries, including Kenya, assessing mental health prevalence, evaluating interventions, and determining cost effectiveness remain challenging due to the absence of culturally adapted and validated assessment tools. Most of the tools that we have today, very few, if any, have been really customized, have been adapted to the local situation. One, of course, is because of the cost. I one time was involved in an exercise where we were supposed to translate one instrument that had been developed through the funding of the World Health Organization. And it involved a very, very massive exercise. Because we had to be collected together, people who would read the English, translate it to Kiswahili, and then retranslate it back to English, and give it back. No, the translated Swahili version would be given to a Swahili teacher, Kiswahili teacher, who would read through and tell us whether that Swahili was good, and then give it to somebody else to retranslate it to English and see whether the meanings and the intentions and purposes have been conveyed correctly. It is an expensive process, and of course, from what I've seen, having been in the university for long, if you look at the amount of research, including my own publications, are very few, indicating that much as we are all craving for higher knowledge, none of us, or very few of us, are interested in publication or in research work that is going to generate new knowledge. And thus, shall we be able perhaps to come up with instruments that are going to be cultural-based, cultural-oriented, and perhaps capture that is what is within the constituency of our own upbringing and our own constituencies. Cultural belief influence how people interpret symptoms, how they seek help, and choose between traditional and biomedical systems. Stigma, discrimination, socio-economic inequalities, and resilience patterns further shape mental and health outcomes. This issue about stigma, perhaps previously it was so much of a theory or just a terminology that was being spoken. But in this country, recently it became a reality, especially during COVID time. And we spent so much time doing psychosocial intervention, trying to plead with people not to stigmatize people who had already contracted the COVID virus, because it discouraged people from seeking help. And if people refuse to go for medication and vaccination, if people fail to go for treatment because of being stigmatized, it meant controlling the pandemic would have been very, very difficult. It turned out that those who are spreading rumors or untruths about the virus spoke out of ignorance. Majority were speaking out of fear. And this is what stigmatization does. People with very little information about a condition, about a problem, would go out propagating information that, instead of building or being positive, would consign people in the wrong situation. And you know, people believe spoken word faster than what they are being told from official sources. Now, substance use research in Kenya has grown significantly since, I hope, is it, you are calling it the media desk, is keeping up with the slides changing as I move on. Substance use in Kenya has grown significantly since the 1980s. The establishment of the National Authority of Campaign for the Campaign Against Alcohol and Drug Abuse, NACADA, in 2001 marked a major policy milestone, as NACADA has contributed to public education, national service, and scholarly research, including its journal, the African Journal of Alcohol and Drug Abuse, AJADA. Despite these advances, evidence gaps persist, emphasizing the need for culturally grounded research and policy frameworks. This paper therefore examines the cultural context of substance abuse, mental health perceptions, and their interactions, highlighting culturally informed approaches to interventions and healing. When you think about the cultural context, substance use is a universal phenomenon, but its meaning, acceptability, and patterns vary widely across cultural settings. While biological and psychological factors are important, cultural norms shape which substances are used, how they are consumed, and how addiction is interpreted. Culture serves as a lens through which individuals understand health, pleasure, deviance, and morality. Factors such as social learning, family structure, religion, and socio-economic status play an essential role in how communities manage substance use. Anthropological perspectives highlight symbolic and ritualistic uses of substances, while public health literature focuses on the role of stigma and structural inequalities. Key influencers, cultural influencers, therefore, are cultural norms and permissiveness. Some societies integrate alcohol into daily life, while others prohibit it based on religious teaching. Cultural permissiveness can make risky behavior appear normal than harmful. And indeed, we have seen it even in this country. During certain ceremonies, in ceremonial situations, especially cultural ones, the elders encourage their youth, their young men, to indulge in alcohol taking because it is part of a ceremony. And what was previously being warned and being indicated as a risky activity, somehow, because of cultural practices, it is allowed to continue. We have cultures that even give cut as part of the dowry, part of a bride price. Yet we know that cut is a plant that has substances that cause psychoactive effect in our brains. Now, without alternative guidance, such as clear family rules, church values, or healthy role models, youth may follow cultural norms without understanding the consequences. Examples: in a community where alcohol is traditionally served during celebrations and elders encourage young men to drink as a sign of maturity, cultural norms and permissiveness can normalize alcohol use, increasing the likelihood of substance abuse among youth. Another factor is historical and colonial legacies. The indigenous communities worldwide show higher substance use rates linked to trauma and cultural disruption, especially where countries have been colonized, including our own. Now, during colonial period, in many African countries, including Kenya, European settlers introduced and commercialized certain substances such as alcohol and tobacco. Now, these substances were often used as tools of social control, trade, or labor incentives. Examples: in many African communities, colonial rule introduced commercial alcohol and encouraged its widespread use beyond cultural ceremonies, weakening traditional controls. This historical legacy continues to influence modern patterns of alcohol use, misuse, and dependency. Another factor is the acculturation stress. And Dr. mentioned of how people are experiencing the acculturation stress, especially when artists come visiting our land. Migrants often turn to substance as coping mechanisms for discrimination, identity conflicts, and cultural adjustments. Acculturation stress refers to the emotional and psychological pressure individuals face when trying to adapt to new culture, lifestyle, or environment. This often happens when people migrate from rural to urban areas, move to new country, or shift from traditional to modern lifestyles, like we are seeing in the modern times today. I was thinking, a while ago we had a moment with our students giving us a jig here. And it was a gospel song. And I remembered in my days, do a jig in the sanctuary. A dance here, my goodness. They would have invoked all manner of deliverance words to cast the devil out of me, because of dancing in the sanctuary. And today, you can see how nice the pattern, and I think that is how David danced, when the covenant box was coming around and was finally brought into the temple. But in our days, the music instruments that we see here, in fact, I grew up in a church that was so traditional that the only musical instrument was a very old drum that would be, once you hit that drum, everybody rises. And you sing, you don't even dance. I could see our elders just jumping, springing a little bit. I think that is how the music was filtering through to them. But for us guys who were just there to sing the hymn as it was, and that is it. But times have changed. There's a lot of growth. Our culture being infiltrated by other cultures, by other information. And even that, some people are losing it because they are letting go the traditions that they have held for years and all that has been invested in them by their parents and by their community, and adopted new behaviors, new thought processes that are actually causing them to go the wrong direction, bringing unto them untold problems which had not been charted before. Example, a teenager who moves from a traditional rural community to an urban environment may experience acculturation stress, and in the attempt to fit into them in or manage emotional pressure, begin using alcohol or drugs, increasing the risk of substance abuse. In the United States, it is characterized by individualism, consumer culture, and a biomedical approach to addiction. Alcohol and prescription drugs are widely accepted, while illicit entertainment and celebrity cultures often glamorize drug use. This is in the US. Treatment culture, in the US, Alcoholics Anonymous, which incorporates moral and spiritual framework. The opioid crisis, cultural attitudes towards pain management and pharmaceutical marketing have contributed to opioid misuse and overdose deaths in America. And in Europe demonstrates a diverse consumption pattern shaped by history and policy. For example, in South Europe, wine is integrated into family life. Moderate consumption is common. In Northern and Eastern Europe, there are higher binge drinking rates that reflect the climate, social, and historical influences. Harm reduction, countries like Portugal and Netherlands focus on decriminalization, safe use policies, and public health strategies in trying to mitigate the problem. In Asia, the Asians combine traditional beliefs, systems, and rapid modernization. Now, the religious beliefs prohibitions such as Islam, Hinduism, and Buddhism discourage intoxications. Modern stress due to economic pressures contributes to rising alcohol and stimulant use. There's a culture of shame that pervades, especially due to substance use, which is often framed as a moral failing. And the integration of traditional medicine, healing approaches incorporate acupuncture, herbs, and meditation. Here in Africa, substance use patterns are shaped by indigenous traditions, colonial legacies, and contemporary socioeconomic shifts. Some substances are used for ritual purposes. Substances like khat, local brews, and traditional herbs are used socially and spiritually. Urbanization has caught up with the youth and brought exposure to modern lifestyles, increased substance use. Stigma and limited services. Addiction is often viewed as a taboo topic within the family and the community. Now, community resilience, faith-based and family networks provide natural support systems. It is therefore important to understand these cultural landscapes in designing effective and cultural responsive interventions. What about culture and mental health? Culture shapes how individuals experience and express mental illness. Symptoms are expressed in many non-Western cultures. They express distress through physical symptoms rather than emotional terms. In many non-Western cultures, individuals tend to express psychological distress through physical or somatic symptoms rather than emotional and psychological terms. This pattern, often referred to as somatization, arises from cultural norms and discourage open discussion of emotions, strong stigma surrounding mental illness, and holistic beliefs that view the mind and body as interconnected. As a result, people may report headaches, fatigue, stomach pain, chest tightness, or generalized body discomfort instead of describing feelings of sadness, fear, or anxiety. For example, in various African and Asian cultures, distress may be expressed as body heat, weakness, or pressure in the head, which are socially acceptable ways of communicating suffering. Now, this tendency can lead to misdiagnosis or delayed mental health intervention if clinicians do not explore the emotional origins behind physical complaints. Therefore, culturally sensitive assessment is essential to correctly interpret these presentations and provide appropriate care. And as we train counselors and those who are going to do interventions at that level, it is very, very important that we also take time to understand the manifestation of symptoms from a cultural perspective, the meaning of such experiences, so that we can be able to be more effective and perhaps more competent in handling some of these cares. Stigma and spirituality. Mental illness may be attributed to witchcraft, curses, or religious causes, contributing to delayed treatment. And in many non-Western societies, including Kenya, mental illness is frequently interpreted through spiritual and supernatural frameworks, rather than the biomedical explanation. Conditions such as psychosis, severe depression, and unexplained behavioral changes may be attributed to witchcraft, curses, ancestral displeasure, or demonic influence. These interpretations are reinforced by strong cultural beliefs, limited mental health literacy, and stigma that associates mental illness with personal weaknesses or family shame. As a result, individuals and families often seek help first from traditional healers, herbalists, and religious leaders, who are viewed as more credible within the community. And therefore, assessing formal mental health services. This delays diagnosis and treatment, allowing symptoms to worsen and reducing the likelihood of early intervention. Understanding this culture and spiritual interpretation is essential for clinicians, as culturally sensitive engagement and psychoeducation can help reduce stigma and improve pathways to timely, appropriate care. I was also observing that the herbalists, the spiritual mediums, and even the priests are most likely going to be cheaper, in as much as they are accessible, in as much as they are within the community. People are also looking for cheaper ways in which they can get treatment and they can get relief. than going for even the Western treatment, which is seen to be very, very expensive. The government has invested heavily in building hospitals in every county, perhaps dispensaries in every sub-location. But again, we still find people having a lot of faith with our traditional healers, as opposed to spending time with our clinicians and medics. and mental health challenges by offering moral guidance, emotional coping tools, a sense of purpose, supportive community relationships, and a strong foundation of hope and discipline. Traditional coping mechanism as a factor plays a significant role in shaping both risk and resilience in relation to substance use and mental health disorders. In many non-Western and African contexts, including Kenya, cultural practices such as extended family support, communal problem solving, rituals, and spiritual activity provide emotional grounding and strengthen resilience against stress, thereby reducing vulnerability to harmful substance use and psychological distress. Storytelling, traditional conflict resolution, and guidance from elders often function as informal counseling systems that promote social harmony and well-being. However, some cultural norms may inadvertently increase risk. For example, the use of alcohol in social and ritual settings may normalize early exposure, while expectations that discourage emotional expression, particularly to escalate. Understanding these traditional coping mechanisms is essential for designing culturally responsive interventions that build on community strengths while addressing practices that heighten vulnerability. Risk factors: marginalization and discrimination. They occur when individuals or groups are excluded, treated unfairly, or denied equal opportunities because of their ethnicity, culture, language, religion, socioeconomic status, disability, or identity. This causes individuals to experience emotional stress and psychological harm, social isolation and lack of belonging, reduced access to resources and support, increased exposure to high-risk environments, and identity confusion and trauma. Intergenerational trauma refers to emotional pain, unresolved conflicts, or traumatic experiences that are passed down from one generation to another. This trauma may come from historical events such as colonization, forced migration, war, displacement, abuse, poverty, or family dysfunction. Even when the original event is long past, its effects can continue to shape the beliefs, behavior, emotions, and coping patterns of children and grandchildren. Intergenerational trauma increases the risk of substance use. The risk of substance abuse and mental health problems is increased, leaving individuals vulnerable to unhealthy coping behaviors and mental health challenges. We also have forced migration and displacement. This refers to situations where individuals or communities are compelled to leave their homes due to war, conflicts, natural disasters like we have experienced recently in some parts of Baringo, persecution, or political instability. The loss of cultural roots, exposure to traumatic events, living conditions, and lack of support systems create a complex environment where individuals and communities are vulnerable and may result to substance abuse and mental health challenges. Socioeconomic inequalities refers to the disparities in income, education, occupation, and access to resources among different social groups. These inequalities often result in unequal opportunities and outcomes in health, education, and social integration. Socioeconomic inequalities interact with cultural diversity by influencing who has access to resources, education, and social support. These inequalities increase vulnerability to substance use and mental health problems due to stress, lack of opportunities, and social exclusion. Communities with high social income disparities may see amplified risks for both cultural and marginalized and health issues. Without cultural sensitivity, clinicians may misdiagnose patients or fail to address underlying cultural stresses, leading to disengagement and relapse. What does this therefore mean? The implications for practice and policy. Culturally competent care. Clinicians should adopt cultural humility. That is, they must accept their own biases and process it through self-reflection and openness and respect what other people with different cultures have to offer. So recognizing their own biases and engage with clients' worldview. Culturally competent care means delivering health and social services that are respectful of the and responsive to the cultural and linguistic needs of diverse populations, and focus on individualized, culturally informed care, respect for beliefs, and effective communication. Policy that we promote equitable access, integrate services, support culturally relevant research, and address systemic inequalities. Community engagement, collaboration with cultural leaders, with faith institutions, and traditional healers can improve trust and access. Working collaboratively with these groups of people, especially those affected by social, cultural, or health issues, to address challenges, improve well-being, and create sustainable solutions. This can be done by involving communities to ensure programs are culturally relevant, trustworthy, and sustainable. Participatory planning, education collaboration with local leaders, peer support networks, and accessible services, and community engagement with helps reduce stigma, identify at-risk individuals early, and support long-term behavioral and mental health interventions. Policy integration. National mental health and substance abuse policies should incorporate cultural considerations and address systemic inequalities. Policy integration involves coordinating and aligning policies across sectors, such as health, education, social services, and justice, to provide a coherent, comprehensive response to mental health, substance abuse, and cultural diversity challenges. Integrated policies and practices enhance cultural competence, reduce disparities, and improve incomes from individuals and communities affected by substance use and mental health issues. Finally, research and evaluation. Culturally disaggregated data are necessary for designing targeted evidence-based intervention. Research evaluation ensures that interventions are effective, ethical, and culturally appropriate. It helps practitioners, policymakers make informed decisions to address substance abuse and mental health within diverse communities. Evaluating research also highlights gaps, guiding future studies to better serve marginalized and culturally diverse populations. And in conclusion, cultural diversity presents both challenges and opportunities in addressing substance abuse and mental health. Culturally informed approach recognizes the interdependence between identity, community, and psychological well-being. Strengthening mental health systems requires culturally grounded, community-centered interventions that honor diverse worldviews while integrating evidence-based practices. Thank you.
Wow, let's appreciate Dr. Nganga again. Thank you, Daktari. We are doing very well. Let's also appreciate Dr. Njoroge. Thank you so much for the wonderful presentations. Ask your neighbor, what is your take home? Up to this moment, what is your take home? What are they taking home? Discuss. Ongeeni, what is your take home? We are doing very, very well. We are doing well. What are they saying? Any volunteer? What are they saying? Just one. What are they saying? Just one. Any volunteer? Hakuna? What are they saying? Pastor Ambunya, what are they saying? Anyone? What are we taking home? As we prepare for the last, like a 10 minutes presentation, I want to invite Brian. Brian, you have 2 minutes. For an icebreaker. Kuja utunyoshe misuli kidogo, Brian. Continue writing those questions. If you have any question, continue writing them down. We will have that session for questions and answers.
Watu wangu wako wapi? Dancers tukuje hapa mbele. Tuharakishe kidogo, we only have 2 minutes, so tuharakishe kidogo. Halo. Kwani mmesahau? Tulikuwa tumesema hadi asubuhi. Halo. Hey, tusimame basi, tusimame kidogo. Tusimame. Wewe, inakaa hiyo content imekuwa kong sana. Imegeuka ikakuwa saturated solution. Acha dilute kidogo. Haya, tusimame kiasi, tu stretch kidogo. Tusimame wenye wamekaa chini. Haya, kuna dance tutaonesha and plus nataka tu stretch kidogo. Hata mimi mwenyewe nilikuwa hapo nimekaa chini and then kamgongo kanaiva bana. Kamechoma. Ndio. Haya, so I want us to put our hands kwa nini? Kwa zini tuaje? inaitwa waist. Kwa kiuno, si ndio? Both of our hands, si ndio? Alafu sitaweza kufanya na mic, but najua naweza project sound yangu vizuri, si ndio? Kila mtu ananisikia? Nice. Nataka tushike hivi, si ndio? And then I want us to stretch. Hivi kidogo. Stretch kidogo. Hii side nyingine. Hivi. Hii ni tangu ajini kunengua kiuno au kufanya nini? Waswahili wako wapi? Uzungushe kiuno kiasi hivi. Sawa sawa? Haya. So, the dance I want us to do ni kwanza spread your arms hivi and then you create space hapo penye uko. Ensure uko na ka space kidogo. Okay? Hivyo umekaa, nataka uface hii side. Hii side. And then
Dr. Google basically becomes the first resort. It's replaced the counselor for a huge number of people.
That's a critical point, though.
Yeah.
If we know the internet has flaws, but we also know traditional care is hard to get,
Yeah.
isn't Dr. Google the most realistic first step for millions who are just too scared to walk into a therapist's office?
That's a really necessary question because the reasons young people go online are powerful. As you said, it's immediate, private, and free.
Right.
Those three things just dissolve the biggest barriers to traditional care. And it absolutely feels safer to deal with your distress in secret, without having to tell a parent you feel broken or overwhelmed.
But that privacy has a cost. And this was a major concern in our sources, especially when you look at the cultural relevance of the information they're getting.
It's probably the most dangerous blind spot in this whole thing. The articles and the symptom lists that these young people find, they overwhelmingly reflect Western realities.
So they're based on diagnostic models from completely different contexts.
Completely different. These frameworks were developed in highly individualized Western societies.
If you break that down, how does that actually affect a student here?
Sure. So imagine you're a young person in a very tight-knit community, maybe somewhere like Garissa. Your identity, your responsibilities, they're all deeply communal.
It's not just about you.
It's never just about you. So you find an online depression checklist that focuses on, say, isolation or a lack of motivation for individual goals. It might completely miss what you're going through. Your struggle might be about family expectations or community loss. Things that a tool designed for someone stressed about their job in New York just wouldn't capture.
So the diagnosis is almost guaranteed to be a poor fit, even if the pain is very real.
Precisely. The symptoms might be there, but the meaning and the context are lost. And this all gets amplified by the sheer visibility of these labels on social media, which is just a giant echo chamber.
Right.
I mean, we've seen an explosion of conversations about mental health anxiety, depression, ADHD, trauma, all over TikTok, Instagram, X.
Which, on one hand, feels like progress.
It is. In one way, it's huge progress. It's given a whole generation the vocabulary, the words to describe complex feelings that their parents might have just suppressed.
But that awareness is where the problem starts, isn't it? When having the word for it becomes the same as having the condition.
That's the line. That's where it gets crossed.
Yeah.
The research is clear that social media is actively shaping how identity is formed around illness. There was a review, I think it was called Inside the Black Mirror.
Yes, I saw that.
And it highlights how these platforms encourage self-diagnosis through these really compelling community stories and, simplistic online quizzes. You see a story that resonates, and suddenly it feels like your whole life fits into that box.
And that idea of fitting into a framework. There was that study by Armstrong and his colleagues. They looked at young adults who were actually seeking treatment.
Yes, and they found that an overwhelming number of them reported using online content to self-diagnose first.
And there was a direct link, wasn't there? More social media meant
More self-diagnosis. It was a strong correlation. And here's the really worrying part. The study found they were looking at social media sites more than they were looking at, say, academic or clinical sites.
They valued the community story over the clinical facts.
Exactly. And even more, the value they placed on just having a diagnosis on the label itself was tied to how often they viewed this kind of content. So it stops being about getting relief and it starts being about finding a definition, a social identity.
Wow, that's a profound shift. The diagnosis becomes a way to belong, which leads us straight to the practical dangers of this, the perils of mislabeling.
And if we just zoom in on one condition that's become, almost trendy, online ADHD, the risks are so clear. One recent study looked at ADHD content on TikTok and called it a double-edged hashtag.
A double-edged hashtag.
I like that.
Because on one side, self-diagnosed viewers said the content was helpful. But the other side of the blade was that it directly contributed to the misattribution of normal behaviors to a clinical disorder.
That is so relatable, though. We've all seen a viral video listing ADHD symptoms, and it's things like procrastinating or interrupting people, and you think, wait, is being disorganized an illness now, or is it just being a busy student?
Exactly. The line between normal stress and clinical distress is getting dangerously blurred.
And researchers have warned about this, right? The spread of misleading videos.
They've warned explicitly about it on TikTok, saying these videos foster inaccurate self-diagnosis and lead people to seek the wrong kind of help. I mean, the content is designed to be viral, not to be clinically responsible.
And the downstream effects of that. That's what worries me. A young person reads a list and concludes, I have anxiety or I'm bipolar, with zero professional input.
And they start seeing their whole life through this
relational presence.
It's not just about identifying symptoms.
No, healing is about being fully seen, fully heard, and understood in a safe space. When we have that kind of deep, trusting human interaction, it literally activates parts of our brain linked to safety and trust and emotional regulation. A screen just can't do that.
So, in a way, the relationship itself is part of the medicine.
In many ways, yes. Clients say it all the time. The alliance they build with their therapist is often the single most meaningful ingredient in their recovery.
So, what does a trained professional bring to the table that's more than just being a good listener?
Rigor and context. A trained clinician explores the roots of the distress, not just the symptoms you typed into a search bar. They give you a holistic view. Your emotional world, social, cultural, it's all part of the assessment.
And they use evidence-based tools.
Right, which ensures an accurate diagnosis and the right interventions for you and your specific life. The therapeutic alliance is one of the strongest predictors of a good outcome for a reason. It provides that active listening, that non-judgmental space, that emotional containment.
That word containment feels so important. The digital world offers information, yeah, but it can also feel like you're just shouting into the void. It's overwhelming.
That's right. The professional connection provides hope. It provides validation and that containment you mentioned, all things that are critical for reducing the risk of despair and suicide. It's a level of care that goes far beyond what any online tool could ever provide. It's the difference between cold information and warm relational care.
So this brings us full circle. What do we do in this technological era? The goal isn't to demonize technology. I mean, that ship has sailed.
Absolutely not.
The goal has to be creating a system where technology becomes a bridge to healing, not a source of confusion or, worse, more mental health problems.
The ideal outcome, really, is that a young person searches online and they find something that validates their struggle, but then it leads them to the next step, the realization that they need human connection, that they need professional therapy. Healing isn't a solo mission you complete with algorithms and hashtags. It's found in real connection.
Which leaves us with a final provocative thought for you to take with you. Think about this difference. Google can give you knowledge, but it can't give you understanding. Artificial intelligence can generate answers, but it cannot generate empathy.
So true.
Only human connection, the counselor's presence, the therapist's patience, the community's compassion can bring true, lasting healing. So if you feel that urge to Google the mind, go ahead. But let that be the first step towards seeking wisdom and warmth and the power of another human being.
Thank you for joining us for this crucial deep dive.
We'll see you next time.
Dr. Njoroge's thoughts have been turned into something else. And that is technology for you. So vijana wanasema syllabus inakimbia. So it keeps us on toes. We need to keep thinking and thinking and thinking what is supposed to be done. How I wish we had the original voices from Dr. Njoroge and Dr. Nganga, the original voices. But that is technology for you. It is keeping us on toes. So we need to stay healthy. And we need to be mindful of ourselves and of our mind. So thank you so much. We are almost coming to an end. And at this time, I want to invite anyone with a question. We have our able presenters here. They will be able to respond to those questions on psychosocial well-being in the technological era. Any question? This microphone can be passed around. If there is anyone with a question. Anyone? Any question? Okay.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Nerea. I want to ask the doctors whether they can avail some copies for us. Thank you.
Okay, there's a request for the notes. There's another question there.
Thank you, Bonadine, and to our esteemed presenters. I honestly have benefited immensely sitting through the presentations today. My question would be, would you consider maybe sometime in the future or even today clarifying whether there is any connection you associate psychology with, what is the link between psychology and faith, psychosocial care and faith, psychosocial care and theology, especially what the Bible has to say on the subject of the whole well-being of, your client or your students for that matter, or even our colleagues. I would appreciate your views on that. Thank you.
Psychology and faith. Would you want to say something?
Yeah, thank you very much for the questions that you have. One of them is about notes. They are already with you. You can see that they are being presented by your team. Therefore, notes are already with KAG University. Then the other one about psychology and faith. I don't know whether it is psychology that you are asking or you are asking about mental health. But if it is psychology, there is body, there is mind, and the mind is the psyche. Are we together? The mind is the psyche, and there is the spiritual. So, all the three cannot be separated. And in most cases, you'll find somebody coming for therapy. But because of also the limitations that I have when I'm in the therapy room, and the limitations are, I will have people of different faiths. Yeah, and because I will have people of different faiths, for instance, a Muslim will come to me for therapy. Like I worked in Garissa, in Dadaab, they will come to me for therapy. And we will have a Buddha, somebody who has the Buddha faith, I don't know whether I'm calling it right, come to me for therapy. Buddhists, yeah? Come to me for therapy. We will have Christians. We will have non-Christians, non-Buddha, non-Islam. They do not know any faith. And I am supposed to be a doctor of the mind for all of them. So because of that, I have to observe the ethics. And the ethics are, when I'm in the therapy room, I am not the born-again Margaret. And please note, I am a born-again Christian and a Presbyterian church elder. And Nganga here the same. At least that I know. But when I'm in the therapy room, I am not Margaret the elder. I am not Margaret the born-again Christian. And therefore, I will work with the faith of that person who is coming to see me. If the person believes, like when I worked in Dadaab and I did lots of studies in Garissa, when the person believes that there is a role that my religion is going to play as far as my problem is concerned, then I will have to acknowledge that, because I cannot demonize and say, how can that be? Because just like I believe that prayers will work for me, prayers will work for them. And therefore, what we need to do, like in one of the recommendations of one of the researches that I did, is to encourage knowledge dissemination. Those people who believe in traditional healers, we bring together traditional healers, we bring together pastors, we bring together sheikhs and everyone, and we educate them about mental health. So that when somebody goes to see the sheikh knows, from what I see, this one is not spiritual. This one requires something different. And when we work like that, we are going to have a well-connected society, and a society that is going to get holistic healing. That is my take. Do you have anything to add?
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. psychology and faith. By very definition, psychology is a scientific study of human behavior, human and animal behavior and mental processes. And therefore, we are looking at this individual and trying to help him when we are doing therapy, that he may be able to integrate the society. Faith, I may not be an expert in that area, but I would think has something to connect with us with the power that is mightier, you know, and therefore believe that to the Almighty God, by whatever definition or name he gets, will bring relief and would help us through. But in psychology, we classify faith in the cultural context. So we use the psychosocial model as we approach our treatment plan and as we deal with people of different faith. And as my colleague has said, we will receive you as you are. Try to operate within the confines of your beliefs and your understanding. And help me understand what some of these things entail so that I can be able to help you come out of the problems that you may be having. So I may not be very good at that, but faith matters are beyond us.
Thank you.
I think it matters to do with God.
Thank you. Thank you, Daktari. There's another question there.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I'm called Jonathan Osore, one of the staff, International Christian Center, Kitengela, in charge of missions. I have two concerns, if they're not questions, but before I ask my questions, thank you so much, Dr. Margaret and John, to have come and help us appreciate a number of the things as far as psychology and mental wellness is concerned. Number one, after finishing campus, I happened to serve with an organization called Focus Kenya. This is an umbrella body that links all other Christian unions of higher learning institutions. So I was entrusted to work with a number of universities within Nairobi CBD. And being amidst students, you are actually having first-hand information of what is going on in their lives and what is happening within their vicinity. My question is, we have the personnel, the therapists, even in our institutions, but the rate at which mental issues is growing as far as the life of a student is concerned is very high. Now, could we be able to have other mechanisms where these services can be readily available to an extent I don't need to come as a student to a given therapist to share, but really just be able to have someone very readily and available for me who understands what is happening in my life as a student and help me to have the solution without even me asking. Number two is one of the things that Dr. Margaret mentioned that makes young people to go to, rather to do self-diagnosis is the whole thing of privacy, it's free, confidentiality, and all that. And having such conversation, even right now and today, it means there was a gap. There were some other factors that were considered. How are we going to see to it, like the objectives? So could maybe tomorrow or any other day, have one of the objectives could be, can you have a moment where we have stations and someone just create a free environment, friendly environment, people just to come and ask questions. People just come and share out whatever that is happening so that one or two people will have tangible achievement by the end of the day than the knowledge we release very powerfully. But again, deep down my heart, I still have 1, 2, 3 things that I may need one-on-one interaction. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. There's a part in your first question that that was not very clear. That a session where or a person or a place where one would go and perhaps get to share their problems and perhaps get a solution. I didn't get the last bit of it.
Thank you. Knowing that the challenges are with the students and we have the departments that are working with counseling, are we able to have the programs that can address challenges affecting students without them asking or without them coming to you? Because there are many and they are afraid of coming to you. Yeah.
Thank you. It is possible. When we do that kind of approach, we are doing psychoeducation. We are trying to sensitize people. There are potential dangers in this area, and this is how you can keep yourself safe from harm. But again, that is so general. It still does not address the real issue. Counseling essentially is a relationship between a trained person and a person with a need. And the difference between professional counseling and what we see out there, this person with a need has come to somebody who is trained and has the skills and the competencies to help this individual first and foremost develop insight. A lot of times people come for counseling and they're not quite sure what the problem is. They give you a long story, but with a listening ear, you're able to take bits and pieces of information and draw a bigger picture and present it to the client, and they say, yes, this indeed is what the problem has been, and therefore we start the process from that point. It cannot therefore be done in a broadcast, like this one. Here, it is just sending out information, planting seeds, and let's see what will grow out of that. So I think that is it. The departments that are responsible, maybe in the student section, could come up with a program where there could be talks, where some information would be disseminated to deal with mental health talks and the like. And that can be helpful to a certain extent. But it will not address that unique challenge and problem that you may be having. And professional counselors are trained to do so professionally. Confidentiality will be guaranteed, and the respect of the client will be guaranteed.
Yeah, thank you, Doc. Yeah, you need to clap for him, Thank you, thank you. We hear you. We hear you loud and clear, and especially on the matter that Doc has just addressed. However, if education could solve life complexities, and in this case, psychosocial life complexities, then me, Dr. Mary, and Dr. Nganga, then we would not be having any mental health problems. Why? Because we have gone to school, we have done psychology. I started doing have peer education, peer educators, like we can even have peer counselors. Peer counselors, if they are trained, and I remember when I worked in KEMU as a dean of students, we trained peer counselors. I know we have peer counselors also at USIU, but you are coming up, slowly but sure. Slowly but surely, you will get there. And therefore, peer counselors may appear, you will train. And when you train, there is a way that they are going to help in some of these issues that are not as major before they become major issues to come to the psychiatrists and the psychologists. So it is possible. I don't know whether we have comprehensively answered your questions. Now, when it comes to matters of in land, when we were thinking about a bill to go to parliament to regulate, psychologists and counselors, we did it. Now we are somewhere safe. It is not like before. And therefore, it is important for you to seek professional therapy. Not just anybody who calls himself or herself a counselor or a psychologist.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Two more questions. Two more. There's one at the back. You can come over here tafadhali. Yule uko nyuma, songea tu hapa karibu.
Good afternoon. So thank you, our speakers. We are really gaining from you. I would like to comment about what is happening these days. In recent years, there's been a lot of explosion of technological knowledge. And we have seen that this knowledge can be used positively or negatively if it is not tamed. We have seen how the young people, the Gen Zs, are using it, sometimes to put someone in a coffin. And we have seen that it can be harming if it is not censored. So my question is, as psychologists, because this speaks to the mental disposition of these young people who are using it negatively, so what can the psychologists do to teach about how to use technology properly so that it will be a gaining, it will be a gain instead of a loss to that knowledge? This is my question.
I think even as psychologists are in the middle of grasping the technology, it's changing so fast. Before you even say you have mastered this, something else has come up. These are some of the emerging issues. And we don't have hard and fast solutions for emerging issues. Because you may think this is it, only to find that you had not fully grasped what it's all about. But we are seeing that our young people are so fascinated by the new technologies that are coming up, which is good, because that is the direction the world is going. So I think it's a wake-up call even for us, therapists and psychologists, that we may be able to attune ourselves with the changing times and to understand technology. I am a trainer, so my hope is that those young Turks that I'm training
who is a master. Speed, yeah. Like for instance, we always hear about TikTok. Doc, are you in TikTok? You are, eh? And you have seen the kind of whatever which is there. Now the challenge is, can you also go there and give good material that people can see and they say, enyewe, apa, we are getting substance. I think that's the challenge that we are getting. And when we have now professionals getting into those social media handles, yeah, and giving material that is the correct material, you know, we are going to help somewhere. For me, I'm in TikTok. If you search me, Dr. Joroge, Dr. Margaret, the psychologist, you will get me. If you search me in Instagram, if you search me in Facebook, you will get me. And I started by trying to tell people the emerging things that we are having, including diseases. And one of the areas that I've been really passionate about is psycho-oncology. That is whereby we are not thinking about this person who has cancer as far as their mental health is concerned. You know, that intersection, those are some of the areas that I am trying to do what I can. Therefore, we have a challenge. Let's take the challenge and run together with the emerging issues.
Thank you, Daktari. The final question there.
Protocol observed. I'm Lubega Abdul Shakur at Islamic University of Kenya, a proud Ugandan, and eliting proudly at IUK. So, as a growing youth, it's the confusion that I can have which might mislead me to residing to internet instead of going to a professional, or it might mislead me to drug abuse. So if there are guidelines or tips or a portrait that can be laid as a decision maker, how can I decide, as in to avoid poorly deciding? I don't know whether it's portrayed correctly. What I mean, if there are some tips that can be provided to the decision making, such that I avoid residing to unprofessionals or going to the internet, or to avoid that confusion. Thank you.
I think one of the challenges we are facing today, there is a lot of belief and trust that every material in the internet is factual and is accurate. There's a lot of belief that what has been posted there is real. We've had cases, I think just about a month ago, when in the US, a young man committed suicide because he has been getting therapy through AI. And it got to a point where AI said when it gets this far, then there's no fun living anymore. And the guy just decided to take his life. The challenge is, how would young men stop having that craze on the material in the internet, or perhaps interrogate that further? because they would, and the thing is this, maybe perhaps if I'm understanding your question correctly, they feel comfortable and safe interacting with an interface, with a machine, than coming to a person and telling him A, B, C, D about their life. And they get into a lot of details mediated on the machine than when we can get one-on-one. Unfortunately, counseling as it is, it's a one-on-one process. There's nothing that will be able to mediate that phase. So it's just about cultivating trust that through therapeutic processes, you'll be able to be assisted beyond what these machines are doing, because you don't know who is on the other end, who is reading and posting the material that you're getting there. It could be somebody who has been paid for to do that. And let me tell you, without being biased on anything or anyone, I one time sent out our students to go and to look for clients they can do therapy for us in their practical, we call it internal IBL, internal something-based learning. So come with your client and let me see how you counsel this individual. And they were very, very creative. They went out into Nairobi and came back with some street boys. And I learned a great deal. Some of these street boys you're seeing are the ones who have been answering phone calls in some churches. You want to be prayed for? Yes, but they have recited those prayers. They have been taught what to say. Yeah? And they tell you, tuma kiasi fulani, kama 200, 300, so that we can pray, and that problem, God is going to address that. Maybe in the AI, that is what is happening. You post whatever need you have, and there's somebody on the other end who has been reciting how to handle some of these cases, and then do that. So we have to be careful. We have to be careful. That, and I think Dr. had said, we need to develop some interrogation, some skills to interrogate the material and the content that is being posted on those platforms. But have faith. If you can trust your parents, you can trust your teachers, trust someone else also to talk to you.
Thank you, thank you. I think we are done with that session. Thank you, everyone. Let's appreciate our guest speakers. Thank you so much for coming, and thank you for responding to our questions. Appreciate yourself. Na ujiite jina, jiambie fulani na kupenda. Sujiambie. Weka jina yako hapo, alafu useme na kupenda. Wow, thank you so much. Thank you for being there. Without wasting time, I want to invite Dr. Kasili to give a closing remark and recognize various groups represented here.
Thank you so much. We have had a great day. Is it a day or great time together? We have learned quite a lot. As a matter of fact, I don't have much. I don't know exactly how to comment about the presentations. But one thing has come out, not one thing, several things have come out so clearly. That is, psychosocial wellness is key, Can you imagine a parent spending thousands of shillings educating a son or a child, and this guy gets a good degree and a good job, but he doesn't perform? He has the knowledge, he has a degree, but when it comes to blessing the community, he is unable to bless. Why? He cannot cope within the society. He has issues that he cannot control. So people will be looking at this person and saying, what a waste, what a waste. A lot of money was pumped to educate this person, but he is not helping the community in any way. So this is a reality, something that we must address. And I think the parent must be involved. The religious organizations must be involved. And the educational institutions must be involved. So we thank God, we as an institution, I believe we're on the right track. We're doing our part, isn't it? Because what you have heard is not in our curriculum. You can't find it in our curriculum. You know, a curriculum is developed in a manner that you are to take a certain number of years in a university. So we cannot teach everything. We are so selective. But when we think in terms of such a conferences, in fact, we call it a short course conference. Within a few hours, indeed, we have learned a lot, isn't it? We have learned very key things that we are going to add to what we shall be learning in our classes. So, the church has a role to play. The mosque has a role to play. And the parent has a role to play. So, we thank God that today, something new, we have been challenged in a way, isn't it? So that when we go out with this knowledge, let us be intentional so that we can transform our societies. One of the presenters talked about culture, isn't it? Cultural issues. And I was asking myself, are the Gen Zs cultureless? Are they having a culture that they can look to and compare with what they're learning in school? You see, when you talked about issues of counseling, there's a way our culture does that, isn't it? Wazee can meet and talk and talk. But what about today? What about today? And especially Gen Zs who are born in cities where the parents speak English and they speak Sheng. The parents don't talk about any culture at all. So that's something again that we need to think about. I've really picked out that one. Are these people that we are dealing with today cultureless? If they have a culture, what kind of culture are they having? How does it contribute to the psychosocial wellness of an individual? That one to me is key. I've picked it out. And then the questions that have come up, they are really difficult questions, isn't it? And we always say a good student should ask a good question. When you ask a good question, you'll get the correct answer. So we love your questions, and go out and do a research and come up with your own answers, because we are not meant to give you everything. This has been a forum to challenge us, to challenge our students, to think about identifying emerging issues in our communities, and through research, offer a solution to that. So to that extent, I just want to say thank you so much, as I begin by thanking our university, the VC and the administration, for giving us such an opportunity to sit for these few hours to learn. As an individual, I've learned. I have a theological background, so I was wondering, hey, when this guy come with a problem, nasema pepo litoke. Is that pepo? Perhaps it's not a demon. And I'm using 2 hours pushing this guy down to release the demon. Well, I think we should look at our curriculum also in theological schools, isn't it? What are we missing? What should we inject in so that you can produce a pastor who will appreciate that there are people who are called counselors, isn't it? There are people who are called doctors. We need to work together for the betterment of this church member who comes to our churches. So, thank you. I want to thank also the Department of Psychology in this university, led by our dean. Let's have our dean standing so that you appreciate him with your team. The psychology department. Okay, I know quite a number are not here, but you have done it so well to give us this kind of knowledge. Thank you so much. We have our Islamic University. Our good neighbors. Our good neighbors. Why don't you stand up so that we appreciate you? Just stand up. Our friends from the Islamic University. Thank you for coming. We're waiting for you to invite us for another conference in your university, and we shall come. Thank you for coming. They have never missed our function. And then the media team, you know, we're talking about AI, and the media team is coming up with what? How to apply AI. And as the dean said, how I wish you captured her voice. You know, somebody somewhere is taking credit, isn't it? I wonder, where is our intellectual rights? Where is that? Your information is gone. And it will be picked by anybody searching for that information, and you have nothing. Look at that. Look at that. And that is the problem we have in Africa. Africa has great minds. But these great minds and ideas is being stolen technically. Stolen technically through such a way. Madam, your knowledge is gone. Just thank God. Just thank God that you are blessing communities. But if you are looking for a monetary benefit, you can't get it. It's gone. It's gone because of what? AI. Mtu anaitwa nani? AI. And I like your phrase, Googling the mind. Even the AI alikuwa hajawahi sikia hiyo. Akaiangalia sana akasema Googling the mind. May God bless Africa. May God bless Africa, a great continent with great minds. People with great ideas. You find them on the continent of Africa. So thank you, media. And then finally, our KAG East students. We have two great schools in this university. We have the Theological School and then the School of Education and Social Sciences. So I brought in my pastors. Pastor, come and listen. And I know they've been blessed. So let's appreciate our KAG East students. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And finally, let's stand up and appreciate God by praying as we come to an end of our conference today. Let's stand up and pray. Thank you, God. Father, you planned for this conference with an intent, with a purpose. You want us to learn. You want us to be educated. You want us to transform our communities. You want us even to go beyond this continent and transform other continents, transform other people. We bless you for giving us this time to sit at the seat of our presenters. They have done so well. We love you. We bless them, and we bless each participant that has been here for all these hours. We bless you, for we pray this in Jesus' name. Amen. So turn to your neighbor, greet your neighbor, muulize mambo imekuaje, as we listen to an announcement. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Kasili. This is how we are going.
God of Abraham, you're the God of covenant and of faithful promises. Time and time again, you have proven you do just what you said. Though the storms may come and the winds may blow, I'll remain steadfast and let my heart learn when you speak a word, it will come to pass. Great is your faithfulness to me. Great is your faithfulness to me. From the rising sun to the setting same, I will praise your name. Great is your faithfulness